Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. And on the menu for this Saturday, we have a Quiver of Crows. A dark-themed shoot 'em up that's perfect for the Halloween season. So what kind of taste will this dark, feathery adventure have? Let's get cooking and find out. Starting a new game, you do have the option of choosing between playing it solo or going at co-op, which is what we're doing today. Here we find ourselves, crows, but imprisoned. Soon, freedom is granted to us. And, with the help of a power-up, we're now firing tears of death, or spit, or, well, something like that. So, Quiver of Crows is your standard twin-stick shoot-'em-up as far as controls are concerned. One stick controls the axis, while the other stick controls the direction of fire as well as when we fire. The way the stages are set up, we'll go and encounter these cages with crows in them, and as we free the crows, we unlock parts of the exit. So some stages might have as few as 1 crows to rescue, and as many as 3 crows, at least so far in my experience with the title, to clear before you can move on to the next stage. The first several stages are set up in tutorial fashion, so as you begin the stage there might be some control tutorials presented. And in the case of this stage, whenever we're freeing a crow, it's showing us the progress on the little Dreamcatcher wheel by the exit there. Once all the friend crows are freed, we can move on. A lot of the stages do have upgrades at the end of them as well. The first upgrade we encounter is the ability to actually upgrade our weapon. We can pull up the map, but there's a fog of war on it, so until you've actually explored it, it's not very helpful. But there is an exploration to the title itself, so on later stages, as they get more complex, the map can prove helpful. So a minor complaint about co-op, the 2 crows look very, very similar, as the primary difference between them is one has purplish tint, the other is a slightly blue core. And, you know, sometimes it's easy enough to lose oneself in the manic melee that is a Quiver of Crows. So one of the most striking things about a Quiver of Crows is the color palette that the game has. We have basically a black foreground with some red and other color tints throughout, on top of sometimes a very colorful background itself. Fading to red if we happen to die. Another minor complaint, the tutorial continues to pop up on a stage even if you've already seen the tutorial and completed the prompts that were being asked. The game also sports a rather haunting soundtrack that does fit the mood well, with all these demonic ghouls and jaws coming to kill us. Some of the horror imagery that we see in both the foreground and the background. So when one gets hit, if you happen to have weapon power-ups, they'll degrade by 1 level. But it is possible to upgrade all the way to full just by picking up another upgrade icon. Right now we only have 2 levels of our shot currently available to us, but as we proceed in the game, we will get more powerful. So it is easy to get swarmed by the enemy, as the spawn rate is always very high. That was awesome. I died right there at the end, but I still got the special attack upgrade. And, well, my dead corpse was firing off these quill missiles that we now have to use against the enemy. So not so much a problem in single player, but there is magnetic attraction with power-ups, where if one player approaches a power-up, it'll be drawn to that player, and which can occasionally be a problem if you already are fully upgraded or are full health and don't need those particular upgrades. As we progress further and further in a Quiver of Crows, we are also introduced to additional enemies as well. This stage introduces us to these skeletal bats that fire little whirlwinds at us, I guess? Or like blades. Sonic booms. That's totally what they're firing at us. And as we progress further and further in the game, we'll meet additional enemy types as well, providing an ever-constant and evolving challenge. And that's one thing to note about A Quiver of Crows, is the game itself has quite a challenge to it. Maybe almost unfairly so, as the enemy spawn rate and the number of enemies that you're encountering throughout the game is often unforgiving. So as it's exploration based, there'll be often times where you're backtracking and exploring an area that you've previously been that should be cleared out, but due to the way the enemies respawn, you're still dealing with a heavy number of enemies to fight. So plus flavors I can definitely give A Quiver of Crows. The game itself has a great visual aesthetic and visual feel, and even audio feel to it. The dark foreground standing out in stark contrast to a colorful background provides for a great and unique feel to the title itself in both its look and just the atmosphere. But on the minus flavors, the game itself is blisteringly hard, and not in a very fair way either. Just high enemy spawns, coupled with our relatively weak crow powers, can make it often difficult to progress in the stage itself. There's also the problem of the unique physics that the game presents, where even the enemy corpses persist on the stage, sometimes providing ways to trap you as you move along the stage, or if you kill enemies that are directly above you, that sort of thing. So in the end, A Quiver of Crows is a title that I can really only recommend for those looking for a difficult shoot-'em-up challenge. The difficulty and the high spawn rate that the enemies have saps a lot of the potential fun the title could have from the game itself, creating more of a frustrating atmosphere than a fun, challenging atmosphere. Even taking away some of that, yes, I completed this difficult challenge feeling from the game itself. And there we have it. A Quiver of Crows. Anyway, as always, I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining me for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.